All right, guys, pretty excited to bring a video to you guys today. Feldman Chevrolet. I'm talking to Greg Payne, super cool, low pressure sales guy. I kind of, before I start these reviews, I typically try to focus on a salesperson that I kind of want to emulate. Cool guy, low pressure. All right, let's start with a little cold start right now. I noticed that GM has changed also their key fobs a little bit as far as how the process works. There we go. Whew, man, it is cold here in Michigan. This is not a very fun time of the year to do reviews outside, but I know how important it is to get this information for everybody. So let's see what this bad boy is all about today. Just kind of briefly looking over the interior. I see a lot of similarities to the 2500 ZR2 I drove in the past. If you look at the layout, I love the center console shifter on the 1500. You got your HVAC controls all in the same spot. Let's get the steering wheel going. Good, it's already on. Must have the auto cold weather, heated seats already on. Love that. Brake controller in the same spot. I like the circle engine start button. Some of the brands are going to like different size shapes. I feel like this is traditional, makes sense to me. The new layout on the screens I think are awesome. This is an area where I really feel like GM has kind of hit it out of the park in the last few years since they did the upgrade. Like I mentioned in other videos, you can tell some of the interior styling cues from the Stingray to their other vehicles. Just like kind of some of the areas like this, just kind of the general aesthetic layout of the truck and the surfaces. I really like it. You can tell GM is really up their game in the last few years. But let's look at the center console here. You got the center console shifter. This is more of like the newer style. It's less of the mechanical movement, and you can kind of tell kind of how the shifting works. It's not like some of the older center console shifters. Got some great storage in the middle. You got your standard 110 outlet, USB-A, USB-C. You've also got a little light there. Also, I believe this lights up or it glows, so you kind of get a little bit of lighting at night. You got your wireless charger here, and then look at that beast right across from us. That's what we're going to drive next. So how many times you get the opportunity to compare the big boy ZR2 versus the 1500 ZR2? Both these trucks are 2024s. Both of them are Silverados, that being a 1500, this being a 2500. If you're not familiar with the ZR2 is GM's top off-road trim level for 2023, 2024. They make another model also in the Colorado, which is a very, very capable midsize truck. But today what I want to talk about is value, options, performance, fuel economy. Just kind of want to look at what you get for the money. Right off the bat, the first thing you notice is you got the really cool vanity lights on the 1500 and the 2500. You both got a pretty beefy skid plate on both the 1500 and the 2500. The 2500, you can't see it because it's hidden by the valance, but it's got a really nice transition area up underneath the front differential. Both got red tow hooks. Both say ZR2 in the front. The 1500, I love how it gives you this big bulge with the 6.2 liter. I think this is one of the coolest things exterior, wise of this truck. It's really one of the most distinguishing features after you get past the front bumper and rear bumper of the ZR2. I think it looks great. You also get the flow tie. If you're not familiar with what the flow tie is, they started this, I think it was on the Camaro ZL1, where the whole idea is you get the bow tie outline that air can go through to cool the radiator intakes, make more performance. I think it looks cool, and the technology behind it is just kind of neat also. Whereas if you go to the 2500, you got the more traditional red bow tie. It is not the flow tie technology. This guy has a little bit bigger bulge for the faux inlet for the engine. This is the 6.6 gas. Both these trucks are running the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MTs. This is running 35s on 18s. The other truck is running 33.5s by 18s. Let's kind of look at the interior now, kind of compare these trucks. So you're going to see a lot of similar theme. I don't think anybody be surprised when you see a 1500 versus 2500. A lot of similarities. Soft touch panels, similar stitching, colors, interior theme as far as speakers, the seats. A lot of the interior is very similar. Okay, now let's go to the people that are going to use this truck as a truck. Let's look at the payload. It's actually really good. You got 3,332 pounds of payload on this truck. This truck has a GVW of 10,800, curb weight 7,500 pounds. Let me zoom in here. Payload 3,300, 16,000 pound towing conventional, fifth wheel gooseneck, 18,000. So now let's hop in this thing. First thing I noticed right off the bat is how much taller this thing is to get in. This has the multi-matic suspension, the same as the 1500. Like I said a little bit earlier, you're gonna see a lot of similar theme here. You're gonna see similar dash layout, similar layout here. The first thing I noticed right off the bat is you get the column shifter in a 2500, whereas the center console shifter in the 1500. Let's turn this on. It is really, really cold. As you can see, we're at 33 degrees today. So the good news about 33 degrees, and I've been letting these motors warm up for a while, so we can have a little bit of a fuel mileage comparison of the 1500 to the 2500, is in the wintertime, you typically get worse fuel economy. So if you're looking kind of at a bit of a worst case fuel mileage loop, this is gonna give you this. Right off the bat, got really nice, like almost like a carbon fiber grid pattern. I wouldn't call it carbon fiber, but it's better than just a traditional look. All your HVAC controls, heated, cooled seats, brake controller, engine start, got your steering wheel heater there. Let's go to your home page. These are going to be very similar between the two. I won't spend a whole lot of time comparing. You've got your different drive modes. Let's look at the different drive modes here. You have normal and you have off-road. I think you're going to see some similarities on that as well. You also here, not sure if you can see, but you've got your heads-up display on this truck. Very nice. The cool thing I like about the GM trucks is that they're heads up. You can adjust all the information going down the road from your fingertips. You don't have to get in any menus. That's a good move on GM, and I like that. This is gonna be very similar layout to the 1500. You've also got the piano black, kind of runs behind the center console, the IP area. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't mind it, I think it looks pretty nice. Got the bright, like almost like a fluorescent stitching all across the dash. Some of the first things I noticed right off the bat is pretty decent build quality. I'm not noticing any weird fit up issues, just kind of looking for scratch and scuffs and just fit up, and I'm not seeing anything. I look at the steering wheel, I don't see any like leather stitching, any weirdness anywhere. Fit up on the center console. Let's do the old knee touch. Absolutely rock solid. This is where they definitely have the market cornered as far as if you're wanting a rock solid interior here. Let's look at the center console area. This is going to be identical to the 1500. You got your tray up top, got your light, storage down below, A and B USB with a 110 volt charger for like laptops or small wattage requirement, and a wireless charging. A similar grid pattern in the seating, very similar. I think these seats, if I had to guess, are probably identical. You've got a top glove box, you've got a bottom glove box. I like how they both open fairly smooth, and I like how they've got good space, good utilization. One other thing, oh, and you know what, this is kind of nice too. It's got like a lip to kind of hold stuff in. It won't just roll out. That's nice. See, good space in there also. In the side doors, it looks like you've got at least 2 cup holders, you could say right there. That's smart. Plus you got the 2 there, the 2 there, the 2 there. Plus you've got more in the back. Plus in the center area. I mean, this truck's got 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 cup holders. So I'm going to reset. I'm gonna go kill the other engine, just let that truck sit. But I'm going to do a 15 to 20 mile loop, kind of comparing similar driving mannerisms and see how they compare for fuel economy. One thing right off the bat we notice is, I'll talk about the similarities. They're both GM trucks. They're probably both very well built. GM is known for durable, long-lasting trucks. Got the steps in the bedside. I like those. Some people don't. I think they're awesome. Got the steps in the side back here. Got a pretty beefy spring pack, wax-coated frame. Got the multi-matic suspension. Everybody knows what that's about if you've been looking. And I apologize for the wind. It's a little bit windier here. You've got the multi-function tailgate. Nice slow drop. Got the handle for getting in. And then if you're not familiar with this tailgate, that's how it drops, the last step. And everything's moving slow today, even myself. It's so cold out. The step functionality in this thing is awesome. You can run it with the tailgate down if you need to move something in. All right, this does not have fifth wheel prep. So both trucks are equal in that regard. So that would be, I believe, where your plug would go for fifth wheel prep. I love the ZR2 badge in the back of the bed. That looks cool. One of the areas I feel like GM does great, besides your LED lights in the back, and then you got a 400 watt generator right there. The amount of hooks inside the bed of the truck, there's a ton. Got Got a cargo camera right up there, 2 cameras in the rear, 2.5-inch hitch in the rear, plus a pretty beefy rear axle. Obviously, being a 2500, you're not going to get a low-end truck. As far as your different features in the rear, these are for your different camera lights that you can put auxiliary lights on your different trailers. Very cool. And then you've got your 7-pin here. Being the gas truck, you got a gas-specific exhaust tip. And what I like too, if you're gonna use this truck off-road, look how much GM tucks that up underneath the bumper. I like that. Good move by GM. Now let's compare and look at the 1500. So right off the bat, we look at the 1500. This is a beautiful color. This is one of my favorites. This is the slate gray, and I love this color. This would be my go-to if I got one. I think it looks awesome. Right off the bat in a 1500, you lose this step right there. It's a shorter bed. Obviously a smaller leaf pack because being a 1500 wax coated frame. You still got the Multimatic suspension, the Goodyear Wrangler Territory tires. Exhaust wise, there's a bit of a difference here. So they actually do something pretty cool here on the ZR2. If you look, they actually hide the exhaust system up underneath. So if you look from the clearance standpoint, look at that. There's nothing hanging down. If this was not a ZR2 and it's the 6.2 gas engine, there'd be outlets on the bumper. So that's a pretty nice thing. They really took into account the off-road there. Rear tailgate, drop similar. I won't show the functionality, but it's identical. You still got the really cool badging of the ZR2 there. Still got the same lighting, LED lighting. Still the same 400-watt inverter generator in the rear. Same handle to get in, not a 5th wheel prop. 2-inch hitch, not a 2.5-inch. As far as functionality and trailer connections, you've got your 2 different auxiliary lights for your trailer, plus you've got the 7-pin. Axle-wise, this is a big difference. You're gonna get way less of a beefy axle on a 1500 as to be expected because it's a 1500. This one has been optioned to actually include these side steps. There's no steps on the other truck. Different mirrors. Both these trucks have Multimatic suspension, like I mentioned. Both V8 natural aspirated. So here's another thing I just noticed right off the bat. For me to get this truck in drive, won't let me do it. I have to buckle my seatbelt first. Not a big deal, but like if you're in a campground, maneuvering a trailer around, and you need to get in and out of the truck, I wonder if there's a way to disable that feature. We'll also check and see if that's on the 2500. Okay, for those wondering, do you need to buckle your seatbelt in the 2500 HD to move it? No, you do not. I'm putting in reverse right now. So another benefit I see to the 2500 with the column shifter over the 1500 is if you're maneuvering trailers around or campground, you don't have to throw your seatbelt on real quickly to move the vehicle. But before we do the fuel economy comparison, I wanted to kind of look at the window stickers and compare right here. This is the 2024 1500 and this is the ZR2. This is a non-AEV edition. It's got the 6.2 liter Ecotec V8. You will see some surprising things here. It's got the technology package, heads-up display. It's got the obviously 6.2, the sunroof, the steps. Yeah, just some of the basic accessories. $77,000, okay, for the 1500. Now, let's look at the 2500. You can see 2024, same year, 2500. It's got the 6.6 liter gas V8. You can see this still also has the technology package, power sunroof. It's got the multi-function tailgate, but it's also even got some more options like snowplow prep and some other like upfitting switches, as well as some other little basic things. But you're at $75,800. Am I the only one shaking my head to try to understand why a 2500 with the same options is $1,900 less than a 1500? To me, this is a no-brainer. You get 2,000 pounds more payload, 10,000 more pounds of fifth wheel towing for $2,000 less expensive truck, all for the cost of maybe 2 or 3 miles per gallon less. No brainer. I don't even understand why GM priced these trucks like this. So this is the first impression of the 1500 versus the 2500 ZR2. I have to break this up because there's so much content. I can't do the full fuel economy and the vehicle comparisons all in one video. So stay tuned for the next few videos following this. Thanks for watching.